Web hosting in Nigeria. If you want to know how and where to find cheap, strong and legit web hosting service in Nigeria, then this video is for you. Now this video is a special video I published due to some Nigerians who request my opinion on how to get cheap web hosting service in Nigeria. So I understand that this video might not be for everybody. If you're looking for a cheap and legit web hosting company in Nigeria to host your website or your blog with, then watch on, because this video is actually published because of you. Now you need to also understand that originally I actually sold this video that I'm publishing on YouTube for free right now. I sold it at a time. So for every resource that I'm going to be talking about in this video, just check the description box below this video. You're going to see all the details of those information, so feel free to use them. And also, if you want to get to me, I will also be adding up my contact address, email specifically, and maybe my phone number in the description box also. So feel free, enjoy this video, and I wish you good luck in your web design or blog design journey. Let's get over to it now. Alright, welcome to this particular lesson in our training series. Now in this lesson, I'm going to be briefly explaining to you what you need to do compulsorily before you can even start thinking of having a website or designing a website. And what you need to do is simple. You need two things to get started, which is number one, you need a domain name, and number two, you need to host that domain name. Now, what is a domain name? I'm sure by now we all know what a website address look like. For example, while you were browsing on Facebook, you actually type in www.facebook.com into your search bar, and that was what took you to Facebook, platform, if you're not using the app, of course. Also, the same thing goes for Google. We have www.google.com, www.yahoo.com, anything.com. All right. Now that your www dot a name is your domain name or the website address. Now, I will not be going deep into the technical representation of a domain name and IP numbers and all those things. I will just tell you simply that your domain name or your website address, just talk about the address of your brand or your company. So for example, if you have a company and you want to host or you want to have a website for your company, you need to give that company website an address, so that if people are coming to your website online, they can come through your address. So the website address or the domain name is just almost the same thing like your house address. If somebody is coming to your house or to your shop, your physical shop, to buy anything from you, you will give them an address so that they don't get lost, because there are so many addresses in your street or in your state or in your city. The same thing on the internet. There are so many addresses on the internet. So for you to distinguish your business or your brand, you need your own personal address, and that is your website address or the domain name. Okay. All right. So having used our physical address as an analogy to understand what a website address is, let's talk about the hosting. Now, I am very sure that you know that before there can be an address, maybe your street address, for example, the name of your street. Let's assume that your street is named after somebody. Nobody will approve that name until the government agencies that are in charge of stuff like that approves it. Okay, so the person or the street or whoever takes his name to the relevant government office, and the government approves that name, and then the street can be named after that person, so that people can now begin to come to that street through that name. Okay, now that is the same thing with your domain name or your website address. After you have had a domain name for your company or for whatever it is you sell or for your brand, you need to host that name. Why are you hosting that name? Number one, once you host a domain name, no other person in the entire world can use that address any longer. Okay, so if, for example, there's an address in your mind that you want to use for your website, and if somebody has already hosted that address somewhere, anywhere in the world, then sorry, you cannot use that address again. You have to look for a new address, just as if you are registering your name with CAC if you're in Nigeria, for example. Okay, so when you get to CAC, they check your name. If your name has been registered by another person, then you have to choose another name. That is how it is also with hosting a domain name. So it is always very important that, in fact, that should be the first thing you want to do. Okay, once you have a beautiful name for your company or your website, you must host it immediately so that another person will not come and host it before you. Once they do that, you don't have a choice, you have to host another name. That is the first reason. The second reason why you need to host your domain name is because if you don't host your domain name, that name cannot be live online. So if I have a website address and I don't host it, of course, nobody will see that website on the internet. Why? Because it is not live. It is not launched live online. Okay, so for you to be able to be found online, you must host that website address with a hosting company. Now there are hundreds of hosting companies in the world. In fact, in Nigeria, there are several tens of hosting companies that we host our website with. It's just that some people prefer to host their website with an international company than using a Nigerian website hosting company. Now, if you ask me, between hosting your website with a Nigerian hosting company and a foreign hosting company, which one is better? Of course, the foreign hosting companies are much better than Nigerian hosting companies. That does not mean that the Nigerian hosting companies are not doing well. At least many of them. For example, I hosted my first website on a Nigerian hosting company, and my website has been doing very well. In fact, I've never had an issue before. But of course, before you can go ahead to host your company on the Nigerian website, on the Nigerian web hosting company, you have to be sure that it's not a scam. You have to be sure that it's a company that people have used in the past. You must be sure that it's a company that has track record. For example, if I want to suggest a hosting company for you in Nigeria, all my suggestions are going to be based on hosting companies that I have used and that I am sure, very sure, that they are doing well, they are existing, and their services are okay. And that is why you cannot just go ahead and host your company with any Tom, Dick, and Harry company that you find online. Maybe because they are very cheap. Some of them can even promise you that they will give you free hosting. Of course, you might host your company and lose your website just like that. All right, but then the foreign hosting companies are better. They are faster. And they have more solid services. That is the truth. But if you are a starter, I will always advise that if you can afford the foreign companies, fine, because of course the foreign companies are a little bit more expensive than the local or the Nigerian hosting companies. So if you have the means to just host your companies with a foreign host, of course it is a better option. But if you know that you just want to start small and you want a company that will not disappoint you, of course I also recommend strongly that you can't patronize the Nigerian hosting companies. I hope you get that. Now I'm going to be suggesting very few hosting companies, both for the international and for the local, so that you can pick your choice. And if you still have any inquiries or questions you want to ask me, of course our Facebook is always there for you to ask, and you can also get my personal contact to ask. Now, hosting, like I already told you, is not free, but hosting has become so cheap that it should not be a problem for anybody to be able to host a website again. Okay, so in this tutorial, let me quickly give you some pricing that are available online. First of all, for Nigerian hosting companies, just so that you can have an idea of what hosting could cost. All right, this is one of the Nigerian hosting companies that I always use. I've been using this hosting service for about 4 or 5 years now, and for most of my Nigerian clients that wants to host their website, this is one of the websites that I really patronize very well. Okay, so let's check out what their hosting looks like. Okay, let's come over to hosting. Let's come to, okay, you can see here they have what we call website hosting. We have WordPress hosting, VPS hosting, dedicated servers. Now, I'm not going to be talking about this dedicated and VPS and WordPress hosting, because I just want to assume that most of you will be looking for very cheap, hosting plans, and that's actually the idea, right? Okay, so let me just come to the cheapest hosting, which is the website hosting, and click on this so that we can have an idea of what their pricing look like. Okay, so let me scroll down. All right, so you can see here that we have 7,000 naira per year for the starter plan, and then we have the business, which is 12k. We have the developer, which is 15.5. We have the pro, the 21, and the mega 29.5. Now, the truth of the matter is that I've used virtually all of these plans, and they are all good. Okay, so if you ask me what is the difference between them, the difference is simple. Let me not talk too much. Now, if you look down, you will see the features of each of the plans explained here. Now, you may not understand many of these features, but let me just summarize everything. The difference between these plans is the amount of pressure that you're expecting your website to carry. So, for example, if you are starting a new blog or you are starting a company and you are not expecting up to 30,000, 40,000 website visitors to visit your website at a time, then that means you have a small website, or you are aspiring to have a small website. Then you can go for the smallest plan, or to be on the safer side, you can go for the second plan, which is 12,000. But you can also go for the 7,000 per year. And the good thing about this plan is that if you start on 7,000 and maybe your website becomes very big, you can always upgrade to any of these bigger plans. So it's a win-win situation. So the answer is, if you have the budget, you can go for the bigger plan, which I don't expect you to go for, except you are really a big company. But if you're a small company, or you're a blogger, or you just want to start, you can start with either the 7,000 or the 12,000 plan. And then as time goes on, you can continue. And if you have the budget, I can just say, okay, you should go between the 12,000 and the 15,000. But then if you don't have this budget, you can also go for the 7,000. And another cool thing about QServer is that you can always pay per month. In fact, there's a website that I'm using for a tutorial right now that I'm actually subscribing on a monthly basis, just as you see here. Though it's going to be more expensive in the long run, but which I don't advise anyways, but I'm just telling you that that's another option that they have. Right, so this is one company that I will always recommend any day, anytime, that you should use. I can confirm that they have excellent service. All right, so let's go over to the second hosting company that I have been using also. All right, so this is 6K. This is another company that I have been using for a while. I can assure you that any of these companies, you can hold me by my word, they are companies that I've used. There's other companies that I've heard about that are doing well. I have not used them, so I really cannot guarantee that these guys are doing well. But for this one that I've used, and for these companies, I've used them for more than 3 years, and I know what I'm talking about. So you can see here that they have 3 plans, which is the standard plan, the business plan, and the advanced plan. So you can see why we had 7,000 in the other one. Here is 7.5, and here we have 14, and there we have 22. But one difference between this 6K and the other one I just showed you right now is that these guys don't do the monthly plan here. Okay, so if you want to go, you have to go for the yearly plan stretch. Okay, so this is another web hosting company in Nigeria that I want to recommend sincerely that you can use. All right, now the link to these hosting companies will be in the description below this video. So if you want to give any of them a try, just go through that link and then you can go ahead and host with them. There is another third web hosting company in Nigeria that I would have recommended, but few months ago I had a little bit of issue with their service, so somehow I find it a little bit difficult to say, okay, go for these guys. But some of you might have heard about them. It's called Amon Web. Let's check it out. All right, so this is Amon Web. Now, I didn't have issue with them for some times, but then a few weeks ago I had some little technical issues with them. I will not say Amon Web is a bad company. They are not bad, but because of the issue I had few weeks back, I just don't have this 100% assurance that okay, you will not have any issue with them. But a lot of guys use Amon Web. I've used them. In fact, I have 2 websites on Amon Web, and they are legit, and their services have not been that bad. It's just that one for the few experience I had a few weeks back, I just find it a little bit reluctant to say, okay, you can go for Amon Web. But honestly, Amon Web, they are not bad. They are also not bad. Okay, so you can see their own.com here is 6,002, so it's like they are the cheapest among the 3, but they are also not a bad site. Okay, if you want to give Amon Web a try, you can give it a try. Okay, so once again, I'm going to be linking the 3 companies that I just spoke about in the description below this video. Now we're going to see people tell you several others. Okay, in fact, I have 2 other ones that I've used that I cannot create a video about them because I am not just satisfied. Now, sometimes you will see some of these hosting companies, they will come with amazing deals. Some of them will come with a .com for 2,000 naira, very cheap. Okay, but always remember that the cheaper they are, the more suspicious they will be. So don't go for something too cheap that you will not get a guarantee for. Okay, so for those companies, some of them are very popular online, but I will not talk about them because I don't have this rest of mind that if I recommend them, you will not come back to tell me that, hey guy, these guys are not doing well. Okay, so this is my 3 or my first 2. Those first are my first 2 best recommendation, and then Amon Web number 3. So you can give them a try, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy their service. Alright, thank you for watching. Now, I have tried to make this video very short because I understand that Nigerians don't love to watch a lot of long videos, okay? But then, if you want me to add how to host your domain name with this company that I just recommended, I already have the videos. Like I told you, I sold this course at a time, but then I decided to remove it so that the video will be short enough for you to follow. So if you want me to publish that aspect of how to host your website with this company step by step, then I would like to hear or to read your comments in the comment section that will tell me that okay, you're interested, you want to know how to host, then I can publish it in my next video. Alright, thank you for watching. Please, I want you to encourage this channel. You can see it's a fairly new channel, so please like this video so that it can be recommended to other people who need resources like this. And if you want to get tips from me on how to build your WordPress website, and if you're a blogger, you want to know how to start and sustain a successful blogging, or you want to learn how to use blogging and website as a marketing tool to get more sales, you can consider subscribing to this channel so that anytime I release videos like this, you can be the first to get them. Also, make sure you turn on the notification option. Thank you.